Oh, we're live.
Oh, hey everybody. Good to see you. Well, I didn't realize that we were live, but great
That's
to see
okay.
everybody.
We just started. I was catching everyone up on the pep rally and the insane campaign speech that our fearless leader and our sec dev gave,
Well, I don't know if this is the time to talk about it because it's kind of depressing, and I know that we want to keep it light here. But
It is our last Taco
it
Tuesday.
is our last Taco Tuesday, you guys, and I want to explain why
Mhm.
it's our last Taco Tuesday. Because we are actually changing this
Yes.
to Touch Grass Wednesday. We're gonna
Touch
do this.
Grass Wednesdays.
We're gonna do this. On the Mayday Media Network. We're going to put it on YouTube. We hope everybody signs up for the Mayday Media Network to watch us. And we're going to drop these things on Wednesday
Hmm.
to talk about just stuff like touch grass, like get off the subject of politics, get off the subject of world events, and you know, just take a break for an hour or so while we talk about our lives and talk about Frederick's dating scenarios and why New York and his mishaps with women that are
Mishaps.
totally generated by his obsession with dropping Latin into dating conversations and talking about Caesar's commentaries and talking about Carthage and why it has to be destroyed and you know Pliny the Elder and Pliny the Younger and
That's, you have
I'm like your dream girl because I actually know all the shit that you're peddling.
right. Yeah. I mean, that's why we have such good chemistry. Is like
I know.
that's why you're dropping all this stuff, and I'm cracking up. It's like
I'm dropping it
you're not.
I'm dropping it to show you how ridiculous it is to drop it.
And yet all these things to drop
I
to
do,
be
but I
able.
will tell you something as a woman who's successfully married, I did not drop that shit on my husband when I first met him. In fact, if I dropped it after many years with him, he would look at me like I have 20 heads and he'd be like, Lenny, is that the guy we met at the club last week?
He's
And
the guy that owns a delicatessen on the corner.
he's a really smart guy.
You know,
Smarter than I am in many ways, but I don't think he would think that was like,
is he the guy with the really good gabagool done on Fifth?
yeah, the gabagool. What am I married to Tony Soprano? That's the gabagool.
We might. I don't know. You are from Jersey. I mean, maybe.
I am from Jersey, but I did not marry anybody who talks about gabagool. He's been known to enjoy some gabagool, but I don't know that he understands that that's what he's enjoying.
I like the gabagool. It is it's a tasty sandwich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The gabagool is a tasty sandwich. We call it an Italian sub or a hoagie where I'm from, but yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you can't be dropping that stuff.
I don't drop it all the time.
I mean, only some of the time.
Yeah. Like I mean,
Okay.
just I mean,
Under what
only.
scenario is that appropriate? I want to know what some of the time scenario is that appropriate for you to drop.
So I think it's appropriate to drop it on a coffee date or a martini date or a dinner date or really any date. You know, you know.
How drunk does the girl have to be before you start talking about
Oh,
Caesar's
completely sober.
commentary?
It's completely sober. I want her to know that if there is a campaign in Gaul, I'm ready to go. Right? She's
Well,
got to she's got to know that it's like her man's ready to get back and compete in the circle of offices once again. You know,
this brings me to my question from before.
what's that?
Why do you men spend so much time thinking about the Roman Empire and campaigns in Gaul and all, like what is it about the Roman Empire? Because I got to tell you, I spent a lot of time, probably too much time, reading gossip about the British royal family. Like they're not even. It's awful because they're not even real people to me. Of course, they are. But to me, they're such characters in like a fiction novel that I just basically decide that I'm going to read about them like, these are people who are fictitious. And I love all the gossip. I love all the dirt. I love all the nonsense. I probably shouldn't because I don't even know these people. They
See,
never
all
crossed my life.
that just sounds like gabagool to me. That's
Yeah,
just
and that sounds like gabagool to you. And you, as a man, spend a lot of time thinking about The Roman Empire.
Well, some. I
Weapons.
also would be on a date. If it's a second date, we're going to talk about Hans Guderian or Rommel's The Tank in Battle or The Enemy Attacks. Um,
Okay, well, at
so
least if you're talking about Rommel, you're talking about something that happened in the 20th century. So we're a little more relevant and realistic.
yeah, I think she'd want to know like the evolution of Auftragtaktik, uh, which is the German foundation in World War One when they trained their field officers in order to have much more command and control um, with their individual units, which then led to the Americans developing that system, which, funny enough, the Nazis kind of got away from. So that I think would make wonderful dinner conversation.
Um, to be honest, I actually think that would make wonderful conversation. And as much as I give you a hard time, legitimately, I think if that's something that you're interested in, this woman should know upfront what she's getting into.
Right.
Seriously,
Absolutely.
I'm serious about that. But speaking of Rommel and speaking of formations, I didn't want to really dwell on this today because I just needed a break because I pumped out this Substack last night
Yeah.
to really late about how Trump is basically like a QAnon president. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay. And then today I was going to think about what I was going to write for tomorrow. But then
Hmm.
you had this shit show in Quantico where they called back every general and admiral serving
Yep.
all over the world
Yep.
to effectively tell them, the way I read it, that first of all, the rules of engagement are passe. If you want to go rape, pillage, and murder, that's okay too. Just don't rat anybody else out because you could destroy somebody's life. And why would you ever do that? So they're gonna go after the whistleblowers. Oh, and by the way, we're invading American cities, and that's our next war.
Hmm.
So, to me, you served in the military. So here's my question to you: these
Hmm.
people who listen to this in horror, I'm sure, took an oath to the Constitution. They didn't take an oath to Donald Trump.
No.
But yet they're trained, like all of you guys are trained to obey your commanders, and he's the commander in chief. What do they do? Do you think they all obey? Do you think they say this is against our oath? Like what do you think? What do you think they do?
So I think honestly, this was probably one of the dumbest moves that the Trump administration could have done.
Okay.
Because you've like what a lot of people don't really. I mean, you would understand this because you've worked on the Hill, you've worked for political campaigns in the Senate and everything else. Is if you are a general officer like Admiral 1 star to 4, you get that approval through Congress, and you are by nature at that level a political animal. You have connections, you have, like you're not just a babe in the woods. And every single one of them knows this. There's this fine line between like what order's legal and what order's illegal. And really it just matters it really matters in the aftermath. That's when it matters. Because the military has things like the general article. They have ways in the UCMJ to get you coming and going, right?
Mhm.
So if you cross that line and you invade an American city and you violate posse comitatus and you violate basically the civil rights, liberties of American citizens, there is no going back from that. There is no, I was just following orders. That's it. Like, if you were asked to do that and you do, that's it. You can't say, well, Trump made me do it. I was afraid. I was this. I was that. Not every single general is a diehard MAGA. I'd say like maybe like 15% are probably, and I'm just guessing here, like diehard one way or the other. But the vast majority in the middle are just kind of neutral. And they're that way on purpose. And so, like, you have to be looking at Pete Hegseth and you have to be looking at Stephen Miller. You have to be looking at JD Vance and Trump. And okay, they give me an order. do I retire? Do I refuse? And because if I don't, how long does this administration last? What happens to me and my family afterwards when heads start to roll and accountability happens? Because they'll come for them, 100%. So, because a lot of people will ask me, is like, oh, do you think the troops will go along? And it's like, yeah, some will, just like you find dipshits that, go along with ICE to round up people and do that heinous stuff. They'll get people, sure. They'll even get some generals. There's going to be a lot that resign or refuse. There's going to
Well,
be some that actively refuse, and then there's so I think what everyone got to I think, and I said this in a video today, there corporate media may try to whitewash this and cover this up, but every single person in that room saw these people are deranged and this is lunacy. There's no mistaking it. So what comes next, you're going into this clear-eyed, and I guarantee you there were conversations had afterwards about this. I don't know where this leads because I mean, again, um, General Smedley Butler, who was a two-time Medal of Honor recipient in the Marine Corps, he's not talked about with reverence, like Dan Daly or Chesty Puller. There's a reason for that because he was part of a failed coup, military coup back in the day. So these generals. I mean, I know I jokingly say about like Caesar's commentaries on Gaul and Auftragtaktik and all, but a lot of those things that I read, it was from the commandant's reading list when I was in. These people at that level, they've read these books. They understand the moment they're in. 100%. They can't claim ignorance. So what comes next? They're going into it clear-eyed. Some may lie to themselves, but the vast majority of them, they know.
well, all joking about Caesar and the Roman Empire, but this really is a moment of like they're about to cross the Rubicon if they go along with this.
Yes.
Literally, I mean, that is probably the best analogy, right? They're about
Yep.
to bring troops into. They're about to bring the military into a city.
Mhm.
You know,
That's what because I think with Memphis and Portland, they've realized there's not enough National Guard to call them up to do what they like, and there's really no purpose for it. Just occupying cities, right? It's the delusions of this insane president that for whatever reason he just wants to send he wants to I think it's really just as simple as he just wants to see troops in cities. There's no strategic purpose to it. There's real besides Virginia and New Jersey, that's the only two elections that are that of significance that are really going on right now. So, what are you doing? Other than just to send troops in, like into the cities. So I don't know. It's absolutely scary. You know. So, but at the same time, like this is just stupid fascism. It's like if these people were competent, I'd be worried, really worried. But that doesn't mean people aren't going to get hurt badly. I mean, what do they say? Like two-thirds of the people at Alligator Alcatraz, they don't know who the hell they are.
yeah,
Maybe.
the man disappeared, gone,
Yeah, it's
gone.
just were they shipped out to other countries? Did they die in those horrible and inhumane conditions, and they buried him out in the swamp, or who the hell knows? And all these things like are not going to stay buried forever. They're going to come out. And now that they've indicted Comey and John Bolton. Oh, you've now opened the door like Penny Over talked about this today. You've opened the door for political prosecution of enemies. So I mean, with the military, yeah, you're a political animal, but you don't have any protection. New administration comes along and it's going to be, why did you follow that order? Why did you authorize your troops to use lethal force? on if that's where it comes from, or force of any kind. And we're already seeing ICE agents escalate, firing at civilian cars, firing at civilians with pepper balls and everything else. They're escalating force. So, you know, yeah.
It's fascinating to me because if they resign, somebody's gonna. I mean, so we're not gonna not have a military, so somebody's gonna come in,
Oh, yeah.
and those people will obey orders.
Mhm.
So
Honor Yeah.
what's the end result is still the same, which is that we're having a situation in our country that we've never ever had before,
Yes.
which is that the government of the United States is officially declaring war on its own citizens. I mean, we've never had that. The Civil War was something quite different.
Yeah, but and even then, the Civil War was to basically force the Confederacy to come back into the Union, right? So it was almost a war of occupation. And the slavery issue came in later with the Emancipation Proclamation. Like, and Lincoln really just used that as sort of a tool, a propaganda tool to keep foreign powers from coming in on the side of the South, right? England and France.
Man, look at your Southern education. This war wasn't about slavery. It was, of course, it was all
No,
about
no, 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 no,
slavery.
no, no. At first, like, the cause of the Civil War was absolutely about slavery, but the Union's stated purpose was to put down slave states in rebellion. It didn't become like for the North, it never, because again, you still had Delaware and Kentucky, and Maryland, which were slave states, and that didn't get outlawed until after. But for the Southern states, and I want to make that very clear, is like, oh, for them, yeah, it
Yeah.
absolutely was about slavery, right?
Um,
But for the Union, because Lincoln was for manumission, which was the gradual elimination of slavery. So he
well,
he
Lincoln
kind of
originally wanted to send them all back to Liberia. Remember, that was the
Yeah, there was the Liberia
yeah.
plan, like, and that was like it was one of those kind of like, um, because there was like, well, black folks can't integrate into white society, and that's why this notion of, it's like, well, we weren't a white supremacist country. It's like, yes, yes, we were.
Yeah, we were.
It pretty much that's why you had the Liberia plan,
Yeah.
you know, and so. But no, like the initial thing was just to put down states in rebellion, right? And so the North kind of sidestepped that issue. Now there were God, I can't remember what they were called, but the one led by Charles Sumner, and there were abolitionists in the North that for them, and Frederick Douglass, that absolutely was about slavery. And all the Southern states, they knew what it was about. But Lincoln was kind of saying, well, no, it's just about the rebellion, because he didn't want, if he stated it in those very unequivocal terms, there was the fear that Kentucky and Maryland and Delaware would have seceded. Maybe not Delaware, but because most people forget Delaware was a slave state too.
Yeah, yeah.
A-
So
And
so was so was New Jersey.
I don't think New Jersey was it.
Oh
Even?
yeah. Oh yeah, New Jersey was a slave state. Sure, the Mason-Dixon line ran through New Jersey.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
See, there you go. Gap in my historical knowledge. You know.
Yeah. So
And you're telling me this wouldn't make good dinner conversation?
I think this would be great dinner conversation.
You know.
You're gonna find some women who is absolutely, I'm not even joking. I'm dead serious.
I know.
Who's going to be completely mesmerized by this conversation, as I am. So
There you go.
she's out there. She's definitely out
Oh, I
there.
know. I'm gonna go to New York because I'm just playing the stats at this point. It's like the population density will just go in there, and I'll just start randomly calling. That's why I'm taking the big books to the coffee shop. The William L. Schreier series. You know, it's like
Oh, the William
you gotta
Shires.
pique the interest. You gotta pique the interest. No, but no, but for
Joseph Belzer. No wonder Trump is so popular down the shore. Yeah,
no, there you
there's somebody who knows Jersey.
there you go. So,
Yeah, the Mason
but
Dixon line did not run down through the Jersey Shore.
nice. But um so but the thing is, like, this whatever he's trying to do, there's no strategic end to this. It's
Well,
just it's a spectacle. And
I
that's all this fascism is it's
well,
spectacle.
there is a strategic end to this, which is I think he literally looks at people like Putin and Xi
Yeah.
and Erdogan and others and says, I want that kind of power. So the end result of this is that he wants total control, which is completely extrajudicial and unconstitutional. And he's going to get it because you have the Supreme Court that has already given him permission to do whatever he wants. I mean, he literally can open fire, order the military to open fire on American citizens, and the military and the Supreme Court says it's okay.
Mhm.
So he has more control than the Russian Constitution ever gave Vladimir Putin until he changed it. How's that for some news for you?
No, I think so. Elizabeth says you will find someone interesting, just don't bring your Clausewitz.
Why not? He can bring his Clausewitz.
Yeah, of course. It's like, war is just politics by other means. So
Well, that's so appropriate for the conversation we're having today.
well, and I mean, exactly. Clausewitz is appropriate for our conversation today. I think really and I think you're right. I think that's really the only answer that I can come up with is it's just about power and the perception of power because he's such at his core, a fundamentally weak and insecure man. And so this is his way of like, I mean, that's why you call all 800 generals together. And so you'd be, oh, they all have to come. They
Well, it's
have to
my
come to my
generals.
call.
Remember, it's my generals, my generals, my generals. Listen.
Yeah.
He told us what he was going to do on day one
Yep.
of his presidency, American carnage, and he's delivering. He's
Yeah.
delivering.
He's doing it, and it's what's fascinating is all these guardrails, supposedly, these institutional guardrails are just failing us left and right because there's not people there to because the only way they work is people, stand up
Yeah.
and say no.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, you're not getting the courts to do it. You're not getting Congress to do it. And, as this goes further along, that's when this unravels, and I think it will, we're going to have to hold these people accountable. There's just no choice at that point. Because you have to hold them accountable. Will we do that?
We
I don't know.
better.
I
Listen,
hope so.
I've said
I mean, Schumer might write him a sternly worded letter.
Schumer better go bye-bye because there are two. Well, he's not running for president, which is good. There are two to my sort of understanding of politics, and I've been at it for a while. There are two lanes in the Democratic primary next time around in 28. There is the why don't we go back to talking to each other and kumbaya and this is not who we are lane. And I think like you have a Pete Hegseth in that lane, you have a Gretchen Whitmer in that lane, you have kind of a Josh Shapiro in that lane so far. And then there's the burn the fucking thing down, the accountability, and I am your retribution lane. And whoever is that candidate is going to be the next nominee of the Democratic Party.
I think so. I think that's where we're at.
Because nobody wants to. We tried kumbaya with Biden, and Biden said this is an aberration. And the reality was, Trump is not an aberration. This is who we are now. So if this is who we are now, we got to build something better from the rubble. But first, we need some accountability.
Yep. I don't get you. There's less and less calls for unity, and there's less and less calls for this because you can't have unity with fascists. You just can't. You cannot have unity with people that want to destroy you.
Yeah. And there's got to be. They are not acting like people who think that there's a possibility in 3 years that they will be called to account for what they're doing.
Yeah, because I mean, Michael Cohen said it about Trump, and I firmly believe this. Is you can see it in his actions. He doesn't think past 5 minutes, and neither do sycophants. It's like they're all under this delusion that it's like somebody grabbing a credit card and just going buck wild, and it's like one day this bill's going to come due. No, I keep pushing off. It's like one day it's going to come due.
Well, not for him. Not for him, because the court.
No, he'll die in office or whatever.
Well, not even that. The court, even if he doesn't, and I don't think he's ever going to leave office if he's alive. But even if he did leave office, after this second term, he is going to absolutely be immune from any kind of prosecution because that's what the Supreme Court did. And he's going to pardon he's going to do such blanket pardons, it's going to be everybody. And he'll do it via auto pen, mark my words, which is going to be hilarious. But i- look, he's gonna do what he's gonna do until then. And for people who don't think we're gonna have midterms next year, we're gonna have them.
Oh, yeah.
They're just gonna be completely different from what you anticipate. We're gonna have midterms under incredibly gerrymandered maps, even more so than they are already.
Yep.
We're gonna have midterms where there's no vote by mail, there's no drop boxes. You have to show voter ID. Everything possible to make it, places, fewer polling locations in Democratic areas, which is gonna make it really hard for people to vote.
Mhm.
And that's how it's gonna go. I mean, every authoritarian Russia has elections.
Yeah.
You know,
You know,
Iraq under Saddam Hussein had elections.
sure. 100%.
And Annabelle, you're right. They're not gonna certify places that are controlled by Republicans. If by some miracle a Democrat wins, they're not gonna certify the election.
Yeah. And
So,
there'll be shenanigans and they'll do everything to cheat and like you to your point and then you'll have the same ones that go, "That's not fair."
yeah, but understand, he can't lose the House for one reason and one reason only,
Mhm.
because the next House is the one that certifies the next presidential election,
Mhm.
right? Because you're gonna have 26, and then you're gonna have another election in 28, and that new House in 28 is going to certify the election.
Yep.
He cannot afford to have a Democratic House in 28.
Yeah, that's why they're doing all the gerrymandering. They're trying
Yep.
their best, you know. And we'll see. I mean, I don't know. The thing that they're screwing up on, which was really stupid, is for authoritarians and Nazis, whatever, is like for a little while you have to make things better, even slightly, for most of the populace, and things are getting worse in a hurry because they can't stop the compulsion for the grift. They can't stop it. They gotta grift, and so prices are going up, inflation's going up, jobs are going down, people are getting laid off. So you've got this where it's kind of like it's like summoning all these generals, right? You got and then you do like a corporate. I said, not. I said it's probably going to be some corporate like seminar or like product reveal. At first, I thought, okay, they're going to pull us out of NATO and blah blah blah. And I went, no, you're making the mistake again. You're not using Trump's razor, which is Trump will do the most stupidest impulsive thing imaginable. All right, it's the opposite of Occam's razor, And so I was like, it's just going to be some like corporate retreat, rah rah bullshit, you know, and so they can have the ops, they can have the photo ops and everything else, and it's like we're going to invade American cities, we're going to get the enemy within. That's great to say, but like now you have to do the logistics behind that, and that's a
Well,
whole other kettle of fish.
listen, first of all, he may be out of it, but the people around him are not stupid. And I think we do ourselves a disservice by saying that they're stupid. I don't think Stephen Miller is stupid. I think he's a fascist, which apparently really offends him when he hears.
I think
Um,
he's dumb. I think he's stupid.
I
But
don't think he's stupid. I think the people, I think the people behind Project 2025 are not stupid. They have been able to, in the last 8 months, effectively take over everything. And the military is the last piece of this. And as
sure,
you pointed out, the good ones will resign. They'll retire, maybe in a blaze of glory, maybe just quietly. I hope in a blaze of glory. But they will be replaced by these others, and these others are going to march the military into our cities and do what he wants. And Annabelle, you're right. Russ Vought is not stupid. Like, he's not stupid. Look what he's been able to accomplish. Nobody talks about Russ Vought enough. Um, and I don't discount what I saw today, because what I saw today panicked the hell out of me because look, Trump looked like he was drugged up. Trump looked like, talk about Sleepy Joe. Trump looked like he was Sleepy Don, right? Hegseth, Pete was exactly who, I don't know if I told you this, I know Pete. I mean, I worked at Fox with Pete. I've partied with Pete. I have photographs of me drinking with Pete. Pete is exactly who Pete is, which is a guy who, given a little modicum of power, is going to go punch drunk on the power.
Yeah.
And, Pete is standing in front of these flag, officers and these admirals and these generals talking about pull-ups and push-ups. I mean, this is like, how they're fat and they shouldn't have fat generals. Like, what, like, are you kidding me? This is what some idiot at the gym would say, some like roided up idiot at the gym would say. Um, and what was he? A major? Like, what was his
Yeah, in
final
civil
rank?
affairs.
Yeah.
In
I
civil
mean,
affairs.
like, come on. Pete's great on TV. That's all Pete's good at. And, you know, for him to go in there and discuss what he was saying to people who grew up in the culture that they grew up in, as you said, these are not, these are serious people.
Oh yeah.
They're people of consequence. And Pete is not a serious person. He doesn't come
No.
across as a serious person. Donald Trump, for all that they have serious jobs, both of them do not come across as serious people. Admirals and generals are, because you don't get to that rank unless you're a serious person of consequence. And as you point out, a lot of them have PhDs and a lot of them have gotten, really advanced degrees in military history, in American history. They know they know whose shoulders they stand upon.
Mm-hmm.
And to hear this clown
Mm-hmm.
talk about this, both of these clowns talk about this, I'm sure was like not a shock, but this is shocking, I'm sure, to them because they had planned for every contingency, every enemy, every um assault militarily and probably politically. But I don't know that they planned for this from an assault from their commander in chief upon everything that they value and they've held dear and that they've sacrificed their lives for. These are people who put their life on the line in service of this nation. And to hear the president of the United States, who was their commander in chief, effectively tell them that the people that they should be target practicing on are American citizens is bonker. I mean, this must feel like what, speaking of Roman Empire, what people must have thought when Nero was talking about shit. Like, just bonkers stuff. I think Nero got a bad rap in some ways, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
just,
Well, even back then they had the mobs, right? So you like during the Republic period, with Caesar is like you had the factions, right? And part of how they would, you'd show up to the forum
but
and
yes,
yeah,
but
you'd
yes.
call your retainers and then you'd have like axe handles and everything else. And you basically beat the shit out of each other to show how much power and authority you had. So like political violence was, kind of a hallmark of the Republic, which is why people wanted the dictator of the emperor, when they were willing to go along with Augustus.
Okay, but Augustus was a successful ruler, right? He was a dictator.
Yeah, because he never called himself Caesar
Right.
or yeah,
So,
it was, he called himself, first citizen or precepts. So
yeah,
yeah, he
but
only called himself first citizen.
but my point is you could have a benevolent dictator or you could have somebody bonkers off their rocker, and we're getting a bonkers off his rocker guy right now. And if you're these military, I got to tell you again, I mean, you were in the military. I assume you were conditioned from basic training on up to listen to what your superiors told you, right?
Yes.
And
Well, to a degree, yes.
yes, and now you have your right, unless he told you to go and break the Constitution. But now you have really people who've devoted decades of their lives to listening to what their superiors told them have now become the superior, but there's one above them, and that one is the commander in chief. And the commander in chief is fucking nuts.
Yeah.
They never planned for this contingency. This was not in the West Point manual, or wherever they all, this was not at Princeton when they got their PhDs. I don't know that they ever planned for this. And if
Actually,
they okay, if they did they plan for it together? Right?
no,
Did they
so like so here's the thing, and this is where I'm coming from with it, right? it's one thing to say all the shit. It's another thing to actually carry it out.
He can't. He's
Yeah.
sending troops into American cities. I mean, we have them in Portland right now. He's sending them to Memphis. He's sending them to Chicago.
Well, no, there's not any National Guard really consequence in Memphis. And in LA, they occupied 4 city blocks. And that's kind of
He broke the seal, though. He broke the seal.
No. Yeah. Listen, I think we're coming at this from 2 different things. Like you're coming at this from more of like a legalistic side, and that and the problems there, the moral, ethical. And I totally 100% agree with you there. For me, I always look at this as there's that, but there's the logistics side. And this is where Trump and his grandiosity screws up, right?
Yeah.
You look back to his companies and how he made himself out to be this big deal. But really, he only ran a company of 10 people, which was essentially a family run business and like a PR firm at best. Like,
Yeah.
he didn't run a Fortune 500 company with like hundreds of thousands of employees, like where he had to understand big movements and, what that actually takes to do that. So to literally go in and occupy an American city, even just like, let's just say to occupy Manhattan would be an undertaking. You'd need a couple divisions to do it. And then the question is, why? Are you going to set up checkpoints? Are you going to have what's the purpose? Like, yeah, you could set up checkpoints, but then what's the purpose?
I don't know if it's about occupying Manhattan, right? But
Yeah.
what you do have is you have people walk, I'm going to use the protest downtown during the whole Wall Street. Remember the Wall Street protests back in the day?
Mm-hmm.
And they occupied Zuccotti Park, which is a little tiny pocket park, a little off Wall Street.
Sure.
And I think Bloomberg, when he was mayor, came in and cleared it out.
Mm-hmm.
Let's assume you have something like that. You don't have to occupy it. It was called Occupy Wall Street. You don't have to occupy Manhattan. You don't have to even occupy Lower Manhattan. You go in and you shoot on protesters.
Sure.
That's easy. It's not
Oh, yeah.
constitutional, but you don't need a division to do that.
But
right?
you want to talk, yeah,
or not even shoot on them. You have them. You march on them, right? You march on them. You scare the shit out of them, and it is their right to protest. They have a permit. They are petitioning their government potentially. I mean, all the things in the Constitution, and all you need to do is send a bunch of military guys pointing guns at a bunch of kids who are protesting about capitalism in a little pocket park in downtown Manhattan. And
yeah, you Kent State. You do Kent State.
You do Kent State, but Kent State people died, right? Here you have a Kent State every day. You have a Kent State every day as a warning and as a preemptive measure.
Mm-hmm.
And you just have the military point gun. How many people are going to stay there if they have military pointing guns aboard them?
I think what you have then at that point in this country is the resistance and you're already seeing this, takes another form. And what that not be like, you're talking economic slowdown, you're talking rent strikes, you're talking, and the problem at that point is travel, consumer culture, or, all that starts to collapse, which means your economy and everything that's built on it collapses as well. And so they do that. You're going to galvanize the resistance into something that's ferocious, not to something that's this, well, I think they have a point, or you're overreacting. It's like, no, we're not overreacting. Look at that. And I mean, you got to even go back to the revolution. It's people underestimate, like we hear about it, we hear about the Tea Act and the Sugar Act and everything else. The Boston Massacre is what was the tipping point for a lot of people in the colonies, because that's when it led to outright violence against the colonialists. That's when it tipped. Everything else was just like they did exactly what we're doing with the Tea Act. That's why we became coffee drinkers.
But I still drink tea. But
well, that's because you're un-American.
I am un-American. You know what? That's a Russian thing in me. I was kind of brought up to drink tea. Like you just drank tea. Like that's what you. But
we're coffee drinkers because we rebelled against Britain.
I know.
And that's why we drink bourbon too, which was made right here in America.
In East Tennessee?
I'm telling you,
how much
bourbon
Brits
is indicative to America. We made it right here. And and then the Japanese made it better. But that's
isn't
not the point.
isn't whiskey, bourbon the same thing kind of?
It's different. Like, so there's Irish whiskey's not charcoal or it's a different distilling technique. So bourbon
But it tastes kind of the same, right?
well, it depends on how it's distilled, but ours whiskey bourbon is charcoal distilled, so that's an American technique. And then Irish whiskey is not charcoal distilled. Neither is Japanese whiskey. That's why it's smoother and it's a little smoother because it doesn't have that charcoal in it. So
Kevin Cox, I'm British and prefer coffee. Kevin Cox, when I lived in London, I did not live in Camden where you live, but I lived in a different part of London. There was nothing more than I enjoyed when I came home from working for the good old Labour Party back in 1993 than to make myself a cup of Twining's English breakfast tea, dump a ton of milk into it, and have some Sainsbury's digestive biscuits. Those were so good. And
I will go to Trafalgar Square with the Folgers in hand, just drinking it, waving American flag. Right? It's like, come on now,
it's instant coffee,
America, and I'll be, I'll hate myself as I'm drinking. Like, oh God, it's terrible. Without red-blooded American.
You're gonna dishonor Admiral Nelson like that? How could you?
I would never actually do that to Admiral Nelson.
Well, then don't go
not for Trafalgar.
Then don't go to Trafalgar Square, my friend.
I won't.
Pick a different place. Go to Leicester Square.
I have been to Trafalgar Square, but I would never dishonor Lord Nelson from that. Unless we're talking about impressment, then
Lord Nelson had that torrid affair with Emma Hamilton, with Lady Hamilton.
Well, he's Lord Nelson. He could do that, man.
He was one eye, man. He had the little badge.
That's it. He's like, hey, baby.
Susan, what do you mean Folgers isn't instant? Of course it is. I have some instant Folgers for my mom in my cupboard right now. She only drinks that stuff.
It's like, he had that one eye, and he said, baby girl, I only got one eye, and it only has it for you. And that's just like, oh, Lord Nelson, or whatever they said back then. I don't know what they'd say.
Oh, Lord Nelson. You think that's how? You think she's having a torrid affair with him and she's calling him? I think she'd say Horatio.
They're British. They're British. You have to use the honorific.
You think even when they're hooking up, they're using honorary?
That's what it is. As like, as they're hooking up.
You call them your grace on the first introduction, and then you call them Duchess. You don't keep calling them your grace, even when you're hooking up.
You gotta
call him Duke.
But what if that's their kink? What if that's the kink they have? It's just like, oh, use my title or whatever it's like. I don't know.
We're going down a very sketchy path right now.
This is what touch grass is going to be.
I don't know why you're suddenly cosplaying 18th century British nobility. But
we all have our kinks, okay? It's like, don't judge me. This is what this is a preview of Touch Grass, by the way.
Kevin Cox and anybody who is British, I apologize to you and your empire. Your
don't apologize.
Your long bygone empire. Your long gone empire.
Don't apologize. We whooped them once, and we tied technically in 1812. But
we love the Brits. Well, we used to love the Brits.
Of course we do.
Now the Brits are going nuts like we are. Now they're going.
Because Elon Musk is over there just like doing his shit. That man needs to be arrested. Just arrest him. That's it. When he gets to Germany, just grab him. You know what I mean? Like, just come on, man. Just arrest him. He's a pest. He's an international pest.
He's an international pest. That's actually what he is. He's an international.
He is. He's an international pest. He's like, why am I being arrested? It's like, well, first of all, you're a pest. Second of all, your cars are terrible and you stole that idea. And third of all, you too much Special K. Lock him up. There you go.
Way too much Special K. Too much Special K. I agree. I agree.
No.
Too much. No, a little bit's okay, but too much.
I mean, that's the thing. Listen, we all got to do some Special K. I got to lose a couple pounds before a wedding. It's like like to have
your future wedding.
No, I mean, I don't. No. I don't think so.
You're going to.
Do women even get married after 50? Is that a thing? Really?
Yes, of course.
Not from the articles I'm reading in the Guardian. Apparently, like,
of course.
Like, apparently women are, like men make their lives miserable. No,
No.
I didn't know that.
No, you gotta find the right one.
Right. You
I've
know,
told you this before. The happiest moment of my day, and I say this all the time to my husband, and I really mean this, is when I hear his key in the lock. And when I hear it and when I hear the door opening, I literally still get I mean, we've been living together for so many years, I still every single day get butterflies. I still
nice.
just get happy when he comes home. Like, I feel like all is good when he's home.
And I've got that for my future wife. I got the medicine right here, William Schreier. You know,
You know who you you know who you should talk to. Your soulmate is actually not me. Your soulmate is my husband because all he does is read William L. Schreier, The Rise and Fall of the Third Reich.
oh, I got that too. I
I
got
know.
the anniversary edition.
I know.
Because
I
I
know.
gave the other one away when I was younger.
I
So,
know.
but
I
I
know.
mean, I mean, this stuff. That's why, and guys, that's why we're doing touch grass is because what's fascism gonna do? I don't know. It's like it's gonna go one way or the other. All I do know is it's probably gonna end at some point.
It
You
is,
know,
and Violet, can I just say, because V for Violet said, "I'd like to get married, but I'm terrified of getting sucked in by a horrible guy and not being able to get away alive." Okay, I think a lot of people feel that way, truly. I mean, I don't know about the getting alive part. I think a lot of people do. I did not get married for a long time. I waited a really long time, and my attitude was either I'm gonna be by myself forever, which is okay. Like, I was totally cool with being by myself. I still do have a whole great life that is separate from my husband in the sense that I got my girls, I got I got stuff, I got a life. And that's okay. And I would have just been until I met him. And then I was like, this is the guy. And I think the key is unless you feel that way, unless you are happy when his key is in the lock every day, don't get married.
right?
So, it's okay, but y don't be terrified about getting, um, with the real guy or with the good guy, and Jim, same with you, I gave up on the idea of marriage. What are you guys doing? I mean, like,
I haven't
you
given.
don't
I mean, yeah. I mean, well, it's listen.
you gotta keep an open mind, and also,
Yeah,
LC, I'm 16, still waiting for a good guy, but I've been in LA, like, either he comes. I was in New York, man, it's not easy here either. Either he's gonna show up or he's not gonna, and that's for the guys too, either she's gonna show up or she's not gonna show up, and the
I've
key
always
is,
wondered
like,
why it's not easy in New York. I mean, it's like you got all those people. I mean, it's just like
I think in New York, and then I gotta go because I gotta go to my son's soccer game. I think in New York, it's hard because you are dealing with people who all have type A personalities because you don't live here unless you're a type A person. Like, there's just no point, right? It's too exhausting. It's too whatever. Which means that you're always looking for the next thing. So that if you're dating a supermodel, there's always going to be a better supermodel to come, like Leonardo DiCaprio, right? Like, there's always going to be another
yeah,
Leonardo,
yeah.
right? That's one. And two, I think there is just so much s like, to do. There's so much stuff coming at you all the time that you're not necessarily focused on relationships because 'cause you're just out doing stuff. Like, Sex in the City, for anybody who watched it, I don't know where they found all these men to date because the reality is that's just, and I'm a little younger than they are, but not much, and I lived exactly where they lived, and I was single in New York when that show was first on. And all my friends and I are like, "Where are they meeting all these quality men to date where they have all these choices?" Because the reality is, like, they don't exist. They don't exist anywhere. And
What?
I don't know what the secret formula is. I legitimately don't. I just think I hit the jackpot because I got lucky. But I
Mhm.
think also it's really hard because you have to be in the right frame of mind. The timing has to be right for you. The guy or the woman that you're dating has to be in the timing is right for them and the right frame of mind too. So it's hard.
Well, what I would like. Here's the thing. I I want like for a special woman, I want her to know that I'm committed. And so
Right.
what I would tell her is that mm, is this when Caesar defeated the Avarani tribe and he burned the bridge and took his legion and crossed into Gaul and made that commitment to conquer modern day France. That is the level of commitment I have for you, my love.
Why don't you just get them an asterisk and obelisk um, book in the original French, have them read it, and that'll explain everything you want to explain to them about. All right. This has been um, Julie's therapy session with Frederick and everybody else who wants to join. You guys, in all seriousness, life is really hard right now. Like
It's gonna be okay.
it's for
It's
everybody. It's going to be okay. But what I think we want to say about touch grass is life is really hard right now. It's really scary. We're all doom scrolling. Renee, it's not just you who's doom scrolling. And if you don't want to find somebody who's going to doom scroll with you, because my husband doom scrolls and it drives me nuts because I doom scroll on my own and I don't really want to, I don't want to talk about it because it's too depressing. But like, it's just really hard. And I do a lot of these lives, as does Frederick, talking specifically about news and specifically about politics and specifically about the doom that we're all facing. And I write every day, and Frederick does too, writes a lot. And I think the key here is that we want to do a show that is going to just for like an hour a day,
yep.
one day a week. It's not even going to be an hour a day, one day a week is going to just take people's mind off of stuff, whether we talk about Caesar's commentaries and why that's a good pickup line or not a good pickup line,
Best.
or we talk about just our lives and just what's going on in the world that's not related to politics. Like we all need a break. So we are launching Touchgrass, which is why this is our last Taco Tuesday. And it's going to be on the Mayday Network, Media Network. So please go to YouTube and subscribe so you get the notifications for that. That is going to go up at 4 o'clock. Is that what we said?
Yes, on
Wednesday?
Wednesdays. Yep.
Every Wednesday. So you can listen to it then. You can listen to it later. You can listen to it instead of doom scrolling at 1 o'clock in the morning when you can't sleep. Hopefully you'll laugh. Hopefully you'll cry at Frederick's dating habits.
I certainly don't. I mean, do.
No. And we'll just talk about stuff that's normal. Separately, and I wish Michelle were here, but she's feeling a little under the weather. She just texted. We are doing something that I've thought about doing for a very long time, and this is important. You guys are the first to hear about it, so listen up. I don't know about you, but I'm super sick of Morning Joe. I think those two sold out to Donald Trump and bent the knee, and ever since then have been totally equivocating. And I think they're not to be trusted, and I don't like them. And I don't want to watch them anymore.
Nope.
I am on CNN in the morning a lot, but I'll be honest with you, that's a lot of he said, she said, and one person says the earth is round and one person says the earth is flat, and then we have a fair and balanced debate about it. And, it's great, but whatever. And Fox and Friends is Fox and Friends. Hopefully nobody watches that. So we are launching a morning show, Frederick, Michelle, and I, every morning on
Every
the
morning.
Mayday Media Network.
Well, Monday through Friday.
Monday
right?
to Friday. I said Monday through Friday because we need a break on Wednesdays, Saturdays, and Sundays. And also we have coffee and conversation on Saturdays and Sundays for people who know about that. And it's going to be from 8 to 9 a.m. We're going to start from 8 to 9, and then we'll see if we extend it from 6 to 8 or whoever else. But it's going to be the kind of morning show that I think I want to watch and Frederick wants to watch, and hopefully you want to watch, which is it's going to just tell the truth. It's going to tell you about the news. It's going to tell you about some lighthearted stuff that's not necessarily news related, but it's going to tell you the truth. It's not going to be this and we're going to have interviews and we're going to have people come join, but it's not going to be this bullshit of one person says the earth is round and one person says the earth is flat, or it's going to be like, well, we can't really go crazy on Trump because we're worried about our next corporate merger. It's going to be exactly what we want to see. For people on the West Coast who think it's too early for you, it's going to be on YouTube. You can watch it when you wake up.
Of course.
Right? So
Yes.
it's going to be at 8 a.m. Eastern here on the East Coast. It's going to be early for Frederick because he's out at Mountain Time. So it's going to be 6 a.m. Eastern for him, Mountain Time for him. But if you're 5 o'clock in LA, just wake up and go to our YouTube page, go to Mayday Media Network and just watch it then. It's fine. And let us know what your thoughts are. We're going to do a larger announcement. You are literally the first people.
You guys are the first.
You are the first hearing about this. So please subscribe to Mayday Media Network.
Mhm.
please, please, please join us on Monday at 8 a.m. Eastern, 5 a.m. Pacific. But again, you don't have to wake up because that's the beauty of not being on television is that the internet lives forever. You could watch it whenever. And we are so grateful to everybody who joined us for Taco Tuesdays. We started out with just a few hundred people. We're over 500 people
I
registered when
know.
we started. So Taco Tuesday has been great. It's been a great trial run. Maybe we'll do some Taco Tuesday specials once in a while, but watch for us at 4 p.m. on Media Network. Thank you to everybody. I gotta go because I gotta go to a soccer game to watch my son play um, another school and hopefully win. And I have to go because it's in the middle of an island in New York City and it's impossible to get to. So it's like planes, trains, and automobiles. So that's why I have to leave 20 hours in advance. But have a great day, everybody. I'm sorry you boycott YouTube, Renee. But please maybe just don't boycott it for us. Maybe,
Yeah.
watch it just for us and then go back to boycotting it.
There you go.
Um, okay. All right, everybody. Thanks so much. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye.